We told earlier how Daily Mirror showbusiness legend Don Short could have been the fifth Beatle. He was so close to John, Paul, George and Ringo. But he was also confidant of many other superstars of the 1960s and 1970s. Here, in the second part of our exclusive serialization of his new memoir The Beatles and Beyond, Don remembers his day as wedding bodyguard to Mick Jagger, naked proposal from Helen Mirren and boozing with clean-cut Cliff Richard. Asterisk extracted from The Beatles and Beyond, by Don Short, Weimer Publishing, £14.99, available at Weimaruk. Co. Uke. Mick Jagger out of the blue. Mick announced he was going to marry Nicaraguan diplomat's daughter Bianca Perez Moreno de Macias, who he had met in France in September 1970. But then came surprise twist. It came as request from Rolling Stone's publicist Les Perrin. Would agree to be the bridal couple's bodyguard throughout the nuptials in Saint-Tropez. I did not have to think twice, but fear of the expected furore the wedding would cause clearly meant we needed second bodyguard, and my colleague Patrick Doncaster agreed to play the role with me. The big day, May 12, 1971 arrived. Just one glance at the baying fans and invading paparazzi outside the town hall where the ceremony was to be conducted made us realize that Perrin had not underestimated the commotion. The mayor threatened to call the whole ceremony off. Such was the tumult. Mick, in his best suit, and Bianca, in an Yves Saint Laurent white jacket and long skirt, left it to Perrin to talk the mayor round into allowing the ceremony to go ahead. Risking all and sundry against the huge tide of fans and cameramen, we managed to guide Mick and Bianca through to the hall. Trouble and tempers again escalated when the couple emerged as man and wife. The crowd went ballistic. We placed ourselves either side of the hemmed-in couple now marauded by the flash, popping paparazzi, rival journalists and hysterical fans. Punches were exchanged. Patrick was elbowed and almost bowled over. My own battered frame was savaged relentlessly, but inch by inch, we achieved our aim to get the couple into the waiting limousine to make their escape. Photos of our struggle on the town hall steps became iconic, pictures in which we figured in the full thralls of our bodyguard duties. Not long after his marriage to Bianca, Mick was assuring me that he was going to quit the scene when he reached the age of 33. After that we'll find something else to do. Couldn't bear to end up as Elvis Presley and sing in Las Vegas with all those old ladies coming in with their handbags. Not me. He must have had change of heart. David Bowie. Unlike Cliff, pop's anti-hero, David Bowie indulged in everything: cocaine, acid, pot, torrid relationships and band bust-ups. As Ziggy Stardust, he also experimented with gender and sexuality, and throughout his career he alternately stated he was heterosexual, gay and bisexual. When, unannounced, visited the 24-year-old Bowie at his Beckenham home in the spring of 1971, he opened the front door wearing dress. His wife Angie, only 2 weeks away from having their first baby, was thrilled by the way her husband looked. "I rather fancy him that way. He looks so lovely in dress," she said. They both invited me in to stay for lunch. Bowie's shoulder-length blonde hair hung over the flowing pink and blue dress which he wore with knee-length calf boots. David said he liked the dress so much, he'd ordered 6 more at £150 pop. Britt Eklund. When the role of James Bond fell vacant in 1972, Roger Moore was the clear choice to follow Sean Connery as 007. After he completed his first Bond film, Live and Let Die, Roger suggested join him in Thailand, where he was taking on his second 007 blockbuster, The Man with the Golden Gun, with Swedish actress Britt Eklund. One evening Britt, the former wife of Peter Sellers, dined with me in Bangkok. We ordered our food but she insisted it should not be cooked in garlic. She said, "I couldn't do that to Roger." That's how Diana Rigg fell out with George Lazenby when he played Bond in On His Majesty's Service. Diana kept upsetting him by eating garlic. Oliver Reed. There are times in life when we all do foolish things. None more so on my part than when notorious star Oliver Reed duped me into accepting his challenge to drinking contest. In readiness for my arrival, 2 bottles of brandy were on the table in Ollie's hotel suite in Madrid. where he was filming 1973's The Three Musketeers. Wanted to talk to him about the film, but he shook his head, insisting we all loosen up before we got to it. Then he threw down the gauntlet. "There's bottle of brandy for you and one for me. First one to finish wins," he said. Tried to abstain but Ollie refused to listen. He opened the bottle, pushed it closer to me and filled glass to the brim. "Right, away we go," he stormed, demolishing his first glass in one gulp. Picked up my own glass and sipped it tentatively. 1 hour later, just as Ollie looked as though he was going to be the clear winner, he slumped back on the couch, appearing completely inebriated. His friend smiled. That was Ollie's second bottle of the day. He drank bottle of brandy before you arrived. Cliff Richard during his heady days as serial chart topper. There was one memorable lunch with clean-cut pop idol Cliff Richard when he drank 2 Bloody Marys and half bottle of Hock, which, at the time, struck me as being slightly at odds with his personality. But as we left the smart West End restaurant, Cliff had an answer for it. He declared, "The greatest Christian that ever lived was Sinner." Cliff hasn't ever pretended to be an exception. Helen Mirren, the 26-year-old Royal Shakespeare Company actress, had begun her film career but was finding the nude scenes difficult. Helen had an idea she wanted to put to Equity, the actors' union, that when an actress filmed nude scene, everyone in the studio should strip. She told me over lunch in London, "Why should the producer, director and whole crew get away with it? People are sensitive about their naked bodies. They think of their ugly features first." She asked me, "How would you feel if you had to strip in front of 40 fully clothed women?" My apartheid rage got me knocked out in South Africa in 1977, during the Wild Geese filming. Ended up in bar with 2 bull-necked Afrikaans security guards. The conversation turned heated and in my cups criticized the apartheid system. Walking back to my bungalow just before midnight, car screeched to halt behind me and large, burly figure knocked me unconscious. I woke under clear blue sky, concussed and dazed. They had dumped me in the wild. I roused to my feet, started to run in sheer fright. Was at point of exhaustion when spotted the tiny airstrip where our little plane had landed. I tried to explain my ordeal to tribesmen by an outbuilding. He shook his head and said, "You are lucky to be alive."